All right, welcome back, YouTubers. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm your host, Jeff Ferguson.
And I'm your co-host, Margo Hill.
All right, and what a weekend. We are happy to be here.
We're springing forward, and it's a great day to be Indigenous.
And kind of a case of the Mondays or something. Clearly, we had some technical difficulties this morning. They only put us about a minute behind. So we thank you once again for joining us. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. covering news and events that directly affect the tribes of the inland Northwest, as far west as the Colvilles, back east to the Blackfeet, down south to the Umatillas and Warm Springs, and up north to the Kootenays and Kalispels, with the Colvilles, Coeur d'Alenes, Spokanes, Yakamas, Nimiipuu, and pretty much everybody in between. So we are here 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 8:30. We'd like to invite you to join us. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to plug them in the feed here. We'll be monitoring the feed for each and every one of our live feeds. And then we'll also be leaving the links to all of the stories that we cover here in the comment section below. So that being said, we have...
and we're going to have a Indian geography test of all the tribes at the end.
Oh, okay.
This week, at Interior...
Jeff gets them listed out, and I'm like, I couldn't do that.
All right. Well, I just think geographically, we go west to the Colvilles, down south to the Umatilla and Warm Springs, then kind of Nimiipuu, but we kind of skip the Yakamas in there. But then we come up over here to the Blackfeet, and then the Coeur d'Alenes. Well, Coeur d'Alenes, then Blackfeet, then up to the Kootenai and Kalispel, and then bring it around to the Spokanes and the Coeur d'Alenes, and that kind of covers them all.
Yeah, Salish Kootenai.
Salish Kootenai.
Yeah.
So yeah, and every now and then we'll throw in a Kutuknuk from BC, because those guys don't get a lot of airtime either. So, but you know, the First Nations of Canada, they get all sorts of funding for their media stuff. So yeah, but it's fun to cover them anyhow. And Sinike's band, we're going to have to get a update on the Sinike's band, because those guys have been going to court and trying to pull out of extinction, I guess. I don't know how else you put it. They were declared extinct by the Crown in Canada a while back, and now they're in court saying, yeah, we're kind of still here. And so yeah, we'll have to get an update from those guys. Anyhow, we have some good stories today. If you want to hit the big down the corner, this one's really cool. We found this. It's called This Week at the Interior, and this is coming directly out of the Department of Interior's office, and it's a pretty cool little deal. We'll play it. You can find this on YouTube, so go ahead and play that one. Oh, all right, there.
Hit the road this week for the first time as secretary, making stops in New Mexico and Utah. In Albuquerque, she held a listening session with the All Pueblo Council of Governors at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. She spoke about President Biden's American Jobs Plan, which would support a number of interior initiatives, including funding for tribal and rural communities to expand broadband coverage, as well as improving roads, bridges, water systems, and spurring economic development. Then it was off to Utah, where the secretary took part in discussions on Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante national monuments, meeting with tribes, federal, state, and local leaders and other stakeholders. Interior is leading a review of the boundaries and management conditions of the 2 national monuments pursuant to the president's executive order. Both trips were done under strict COVID-19 guidelines to keep everyone safe. Interior will invest $1.6 billion this year to take on critical deferred maintenance projects and improve transportation and recreation infrastructure in national parks, national wildlife refuges and recreation areas, and a Bureau of Indian Education schools. The funding was made possible by the newly created National Parks and Public Land Legacy Restoration Fund, established in 2020 by the Great American Outdoors Act. Secretary Haaland this week announced the formation of a new missing and murdered unit within the Bureau of Indian Affairs Office of Justice Services. The MMU will provide leadership and direction for cross-departmental and interagency work involving missing and murdered American Indians and Alaska Natives. The Secretary said violence against Indigenous peoples is a crisis that has been underfunded for decades. The Bureau of Reclamation has released final technical details supporting the 2021 Secure Water Act report. Reclamation's 2021 West-wide climate and hydrology assessment, plus 7 individual basin reports, provide detailed information on climate change impacts and adaptation strategies to increase water supply reliability in the West. After a 5-year review, the Fish and Wildlife Service is recommending no change to the status of the grizzly bear in the lower 48 states as threatened under the Endangered Species Act. This recommendation follows a thorough review of the best available science, informed by an independently peer-reviewed species status assessment. This week of April 5th through the 12th is International Dark Sky Week, and the National Park Service is collaborating with the Illuminating Engineering Society to improve outdoor lighting in national parks without affecting night sky viewing, the fastest growing park visitor activity. Together, they'll develop lighting standards and best practices for parks and other protected areas to help plan night sky friendly lighting in future construction projects and parts of the National Park System. And our social media picture of the week, where you can almost catch the scent of these wildflowers in bloom at 8,000 feet on BLM managed land just south of Monitor Pass in California's Sierra Nevada. The picturesque range stretches for some 400 miles in eastern California and translates literally as snowy mountains. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That's This Week at Interior.
That's what I was trying to. Sorry, that's what I
does-
was trying to show you now. Okay, so a lot of the craft and seamstress sewer folks are at the fairs, at the crafts fairs, when you go out to Northern Quest and you kind of build a relationship with them. So I know Devonica Brown Eagle is a beautiful seamstress. There's a lot on Facebook. It just depends on who's taking orders. Sometimes Marceline Madera is taking orders,
Yeah.
and it just depends on who's available.
And you can check out the Inchlim Craft and Beadwork group on Facebook, and also Spokane Indians. I think Spokane Indian Beadwork is another one that you can check out. There's several groups that have people that are selling that kind of stuff on Facebook, not necessarily in Marketplace, but on Facebook as groups. So you should be sure to check that out, and you can check with also individual artisans too. And then we'll be having craft fairs coming up periodically at I think Northern Quest has another one coming up. The Spokane Tribe Casino has one coming up. I'm sure Coeur d'Alene's will have some vendors out there. So yeah, definitely check those out. So we better keep moving. We're already 11 minutes in, and we have a really cool story here that is about a local gal. see if I can pull this one up.
Yeah, so Sophia Turning Robe was selected as the Act 6 Scholar. So we're real excited. She received the news that she is going to be receiving a scholarship, a full ride scholarship to attend Whitworth University as part of that Act 6 Scholar program. Turning Robe said that she wants to broaden her horizons and learn how to give back to the tribal community. It was exciting. They notified her on Zoom. Sophia Turning Robe is an enrolled member of the Spokane tribe as well as the Siksika First Nation in Canada. She'll be studying political science. She is also an athlete. Jeff, she's going to be playing volleyball for the Whitworth Pirates. I think you went to Whitworth, and it's exciting. Her mom, Marina Turning Robe, went to Whitworth, and Sophia just has such a bright future. She's a beautiful jingle dress dancer, and her mom, was always working on her regalia and make her new outfits. But she's just a beautiful young gal, and we're real excited for her.
Yeah, congratulations, Sophia. We'll watch for you on the volleyball court.
Yeah,
cool.
And at the link, you can check out actually some of her beautiful dancing. Jeff did some recording of, I think it was the Spokane Tribal Powwow, and you can see some of the jingle dress dancers there. But she's, has an amazing, bright future, and, it just goes to show when our young Native people are working hard, they're disciplined in their athletics, they're disciplined in their academics, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Very cool. We'll have to keep an eye on her. So, moving right along, we have a story on the Warm Springs Res. So this is ongoing. The Warm Springs Reservation water crisis is reminiscent of Flint, Michigan. This article comes to us out of Native News Online. It's about the water crisis. The residents of the reservation have had to live with contaminated water for almost 5 years, and the federal and state government has only provided Band-Aid type fixes to one, according to one tribal official down there. So the Warm Springs water crisis, according to this article, the author goes on to say that it reminded him of a long-lasting water crisis in Flint, Michigan. In March 2016, he was on, let's see, yeah. Matthew, no, it's not. That's not Matthew. We lost him. I lost him. Here we go. Levi. Levi goes on to say that, as it turns out, I was due to arrive in Flint. Oh, no. Okay. The Warm Springs. In March 2016, I was on my way to Flint to cover the Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders presidential debate when I got a text that a group of Flint community leaders invited media members to a press conference on the local water crisis that was drawing national attention because of its lead contamination, contaminated drinking water system. Access to water is a basic human right that the average American takes for granted as they turn on their faucet to get a drink. Yet what comes out of the tap in Flint was not safe to drink. And so this article goes on and talks about how the water crisis in Warm Springs compares to the water crisis in Flint, Michigan. And so he goes into detail. Again, we'll leave the link in here. Some of the things that he says, while the Flint water crisis impacted more people on a proportional basis, the Warm Springs crisis has at times negatively impacted 2/3 of the 3,300 residents living on Oregon's largest reservation. Some sections of the 1,000 square mile reservation have been on a boil notice on and off since last January, but pipes have been failing in the community since 2017, according to the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs emergency manager Dan Martinez. Tribal citizens say they have not been able to take showers or properly bathe because the contaminated water irritates their skin. Residents have not been able to use tap water to cook because of the foul smell and unpleasant taste. The Treaty of 1855 between the Warm Springs Tribe and the United States says the federal government or the Bureau of Indian Affairs has a trust responsibility to provide Warm Springs with access to clean water. I don't want to put blame on the BIA, but the fact remains that a lot of it is the infrastructure that's failing as a result of an aging system, Martinez told Native News Online reporter in March. It's never been updated. You got metal pipes that are going into copper pipes that are going into plastic pipes. When you combine all of these materials into an aging system, something's bound to give. We only put Band-Aids on the system, and then it fails, and it fails. So yeah, the last year, the lack of clean water is bad at any time, but has been exacerbated since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, when hand washing and sanitizing became essential to staying safe from the virus. The tribe has lost 22 citizens since last March. Wow. Last month, President Biden introduced a $2.2 trillion infrastructure package that aims to fix fix many of the infrastructure problems across the country. During his remarks, he mentioned tribes 14 times. So that money is clearly going to be hitting Indian country.
And Jeff, actually, you took a trip down to Warm Springs. You've talked to Dan Martinez and local tribes, and you gathered some donations. We made some phone calls, and you brought water down there. But again, that's kind of a temporary solution.
That was a couple years ago, and they had boil notices back then, and we brought 20,000 bottles of water down there for them.
Yeah, the Spokane tribe, the Coeur d'Alene tribe, the Kalispel tribe all pitched in, and you guys brought down pallets of AT&I pallets of water down to Warm Springs. And you talked to Dan Martinez.
Yeah, and it was just, for me, it was really interesting. There was a lot of kind of smaller problems that they're dealing with too, but to have this going, ongoing, I couldn't imagine living in an area for years and years and years where the water problem has not been fixed or addressed. And clearly, they don't want to point fingers at the BIA, but it is a trust responsibility, and they have a treaty from 1855. Hopefully, some of this money that Biden's, the $2.2 trillion infrastructure stuff, will help with that. That's far too long. As it mentions, we do take that for granted, but it's something that can be fixed there, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe take a trip back down there.
Yeah, don't take water for granted.
For granted. Native Americans tribes pull ahead in COVID-19 vaccinations. This is pretty exciting news here. So I think you got that one pulled up.
Hey there, we're INWNN. We're working from our homes to make the most comfortable things for yours.
Oh.
Like sheets, towels, and loungewear. All with free delivery to your door and backed by hundreds of thousands of comfortable customers. Visit brooklinen.com to get 10% off your first order.
Theoretically.
Yeah, I was having problems with that one.
Oh.
Looks like it's loading now.
Looks like it's loading now. Well. So, we can go on. If this pops up, it pops up. We can go back to it.
Okay.
We'll go right here. We'll go back to it if it comes up.
Okay.
Anyhow, high inoculation rates stem from centralized healthcare systems and culture that strives to protect elders. This by Robbie Whelan is the last name, and this one's in the Wall Street Journal. So when Vanessa Begay heard in late January that clinics on the Indian Reservation where she lives in Arizona were offering COVID-19 vaccinations to all adults, she rushed to get in line for her shot. The 24-year-old is a college student, mother of two, and a member of the Navajo Nation. Her grandfather, a diabetic in his 60s, died in July after he contracted the coronavirus and was put on a respirator. Pretty much the whole Navajo Nation wanted to get the vaccine as soon as it came out, Ms. Begay said. We all felt it was the right thing to do to protect our families, especially our elders. Almost everyone I know has lost someone, and we all just want the pandemic to be over. In Apache country, Arizona, where Ms. Begay lives, about two-thirds of which is covered by the Navajo, Fort Apache, and Zuni Indian reservations. 42% of the population is fully vaccinated, according to the CDC and prevention data. In Glacier County, Montana, home of the Blackfeet Nation, 46.7% of the population is vaccinated. In Blaine County, Montana, where 1/3 of the population lives on Fort Belknap Reservation, it's 45.9. Overall, 34.5% of the U.S. population has received at least one vaccine shot, according to the CDC. So when 34.5% of the overall population has had their first shot, 42% down in Arizona has received their full vaccination on the reservation, of 46.7% in Blackfeet Nation. That's high. That's really high. I don't know what the Spokane or the Colvilles or Coeur d'Alene's or any of these guys around here are, but that'd be interesting to find out. I'm sure they're right up there. The Spokanes have had amazing, just streamline. Shout out to Marcus and all those guys out there that have been working really hard to get everybody vaccinated. But what they're doing is working, and so that's what this video, that it might have been pulled. I don't know. It looks like it might have been pulled. But we were hoping to share that with you. So anyhow, its numbers are up for vaccinations in Indian country, and it's a good thing to see our IHS, our clinics stepping up and getting the job done. Good job. Shout out to all the healthcare workers in Indian country. So
okay, we have a couple of murdered missing Indigenous women announcements. First, we have Beth Carey. She's been missing since April 8th, missing from Issaquah. I can close that. From Issaquah, Washington, a 32-year-old, 5'6", 125 pounds with light brown hair and brown eyes. She left home wearing the blue jacket pictured. She may be suicidal and considered at risk. She talked about going around some natural areas that may have cliffs or steep ledges, but please call the Issaquah Police Department at 425-837-3200 if you know her whereabouts. So that's Beth Carey.
We also have another one out of Blackfeet Nation, and this is
Dalen Wagner. Age 15, weight 200 pounds, height 5'3". Her eyes are brown, hair's red. If you know anything about the whereabouts of Dalen, please contact Blackfeet law enforcement at 406-338-4000.
Yeah, and so, definitely try to keep an eye out for those gals. And, if you see anything, say something. If you see something, say something. They keep saying that over and over again, and I think we really need to hold true. We'd rather be safe than sorry. It's been such a problem. There is getting more attention to that problem, but still, we'd rather be safe than sorry, man. Unfortunately, it's still something that's out of control. So that being said, I have a call to Indigenous artists here. This one, I don't know. Did you get that one?
I didn't get that one.
You didn't get that one? Okay, so this is a call to Indigenous artists, Indigenous women, expression of resilience. So this one is coming up here pretty quick. I'll see if I can get a better view of this to read for you. 412. All right, and it says, call to Indigenous women artists, poets, and craftspeople, expressions of resilience, art, poetry, and traditional crafts by Indigenous women. This show celebrates the creativity and resilience of Indigenous women and is intended to shine a spotlight on their words and creations. The show will include contemporary works of art, traditional craft, and be interspersed with poetry, music, and other art forms. The show will be run from May 8th to June 26th at the Big Fork Art and Cultural Center in Big Fork, Montana. For more information, you can contact Laura Hodge, the Executive Director at Big Fork and Cultural Center. That's Laura at BACK, that's BACC, bigfork.org, or call 406-837-6927, 406-837-6927, or you can visit them at the Big Fork website at Big Fork Art and Cultural Center. So that's coming up, and for Indigenous women, thought we'd throw that one in there. I know I didn't have the best of graphics for that. We got somebody here, C.U.J. Carey, watching live from Mission, Oregon on the Umatilla Res. All right. We got some Umatillas chiming in. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that.
We love to cover the Umatillas.
Yeah.
You guys are rocking it down there.
Yeah. It's nice to hear when we get people from down south, because that was a big part. I know they have a lot of cool things happening down there, and we want to be sure to send us. If you guys have any flyers that you want us to run or talk about, let us know. We'll be happy to read them. Thank you for chiming in. Our last story, this one is on a bill that passes. So
all schools are required to teach Native American history in North Dakota. Great story. This is out of Bismarck, North Dakota by Darren Thompson. A bill will require all North Dakota schools to teach Native American history, culture, and treaty rights. Passed through the North Dakota State Senate. This bill calls for requiring all elementary and secondary public and non-public schools in the state to include curriculum on Native American history. We are pleased and gratified that my colleagues in North Dakota have passed Senate Bill 2304. It's long been needed, said North Dakota State Representative Ruth Buffalo. All right, Ruth. I was on a panel with Ruth back in D.C. This is exciting. So Native people of North Dakota are a crucial part of the cultural and educational landscape in our state, and this bill will ensure movement towards mutual understanding and cooperation for future generations. So this is real exciting to see that there's going to be education provided about the First Peoples. You know, often in our grade schools, we hear all about Columbus and the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria, but we don't hear about the Indigenous people.
Wow, and to have this happen in North Dakota really says something. That's exciting. You know, North Dakota has historically had a lot of controversy between the indigenous population and the non-natives that in the area, and so to have this come through, that's exciting. You know, I think and that's really a lot of what a lot of things are about when we look at trying to get things done in Indian country to help Indian people. We get a lot more cooperation from people that are educated and they understand the history and the trauma and, you know, all the different things that we've had to be resilient through, you know, so it's exciting. North Dakota's that's really cool.
And what's really cool here is that the bill's prime sponsor is Minority Leader Joan Heckman. And Heckman is actually an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa from Belcourt, North Dakota. And then, of course, co-sponsor Senator Marcellus. This work is by natives. Representation matters. Yeah. You know, we have seen the surge of Native Americans that are running for political office. They are winning, and they are representing us all up and across the states.
Yeah, a lot of it goes back to vote. Get out and vote. Get these allies into office so we can get these bills passed, because we can't do it without them. The battle is too high. It's an uphill battle that is way too high. So anyhow, we are about out of time, and we just want to thank you once again for chiming in. We're here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. It's all I have. What about you?
A couple birthday shout outs. It was Jasmine Stern's birthday the other day, and she's also celebrating sobriety, being years of being clean and sober. So shout out to Jasmine Stearns. Also, Carrie Pacotis out of Nispelem, Washington. Big shout out to Carrie Pacotis. And then lastly, Gerald Ford Jr., one of my little cousins up on the Kalispel res. Happy birthday to Smiley.
All right. Happy birthday, Smiley. All right. We'll see you on Wednesday. Yeah.